his stomach was just rising and rising. I said, brothers don't get pregnant, so I know something's going on. But it was like unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And when they went to court, all the suspender wearing brothers, they was all in a picture supporting him. I told them, we're not going because of the police. But the thing of all that stuff hanging on the house up there, knock yourself out. We'll do 2 or 3 CDs or DVDs and just go up and down the street, and tell everybody, if you saw the houses, that's what they were doing, to try to make us look bad. It won't take 10 minutes. Right? It won't take 10 minutes. So actually, more. Okay, I'm going to speed up. Open just right for lives, destiny, and true black power. Our movement will cover all what it was supposed to. The black movement and the Islamic movement, and then the global movement. The global human transition movement. Okay, grand strategy. I've mentioned this before. Grand strategy. What is our grand strategy? Flawless psycho-negroid implementation. I didn't be sitting there a long time trying to figure out what are they talking about. That sounds like Amos and Nanny. But that's the strategy. Flawless psycho-negroid implementation. It's just what it says. Flawless. It means don't listen to the beat. Psycho, mind, negroid, black implementation. That's what it is. That's what they say that have a vision, have a plan, right? Or study, what does it say? Scan your environment, right? Study your environment, then get a plan. Or a strategy, then you implement it. Then after you implement the plan, you come back and look over and see how do we do that time, and then you add some more stuff on. So that's what flawless psycho-negroid implementation is. It's a model. That's what we are. We're a model. Look, they can talk. There's a masjid over there. They're not a model. They're a model for surrender. They're a model for, if you don't do your job, the people that really want to surrender will come and flood your place. And you won't have no direction or no nothing. You'll just get a few dollars and there's a cotton box. Okay, we don't get much money. There's nobody around here. But who's everybody paying attention to? They can call and get fill up downtown, the centers downtown. But the people go back home. It's like a damn holiday. It's like the 4th of July. Those Muslim programs they have down there, same lessons. Why are y'all here? What is the purpose? Okay, we talk about archivists, documenters, chronicle, historian. Science of political evolution. Case studies, we've done that a lot of them. Oh yeah, I got the old British ambassador here. The Manual of Islamic Organizations for the 21st Century. That's basically part of it. The first quarter of the 21st century. Our writings now will cover for that. That's like the model of, all we have to do is put it down, get it typed up, put the titles right. But that's already in place. All these notes and the writings, all that stuff, that's what the manual for the Islamic movement is, our manual. You go to the manual and you see how to get where you want to go. And if you just follow that manual, you'll get somewhere along the way. But each group is going to pick up their own special knowledge from environmental circumstances. I mentioned hyperbole, part of psychological warfare. We got the attention we wanted. We'll keep it. Hyperbole. They don't know which part is hyperbole and which part is substance. They have no idea. Oakland, D.C., stepping stones to the future. Dare to dream. Selflessness necessary. Leisure and fun. We talked about all that. Stage ones, single artists, intimate heroes, experiment, sing your own song. Basically, we know what that means. What that means is every group or every person that starts out, whether an artist or drawing pictures or whatever, a singer, at first each group or each person plays with somebody else, whoever they might get lucky and they play with the famous people of their time. And so their songs at first sound like everybody else. They copy, they'll be, you know, back and forth. Years ago they had tons of, every black neighborhood had a group like the Temptations. Because, see, that disco stuff started in Europe. When I went over to Europe, they played records and stuff like that. But in our nightclubs, we had a group that could sing like, okay, if Temptations was 100, we had 95 at every club we had. We had a group that they sounded, you could get the groove, you could be just like this, right? So we didn't have no disco over here way back in the 60s and all that. But I went over there in 70 and all that, they had disco and all that because they didn't have the real thing. The point is, you start off by imitating other people and participating with other people. But what people really give you credit for after 20 or 30 years is your own sound. So-and-so has a unique sound, right? That's the way we are. We're that way already. We started off with all the other movements, learning, really paying attention. The only thing that we know we had is sincerity. We wanted to be free. That's what we wanted. And we were sincere. Okay. So we was with the chief, we was with the nation, we was with the DAR. We had been with just about everybody. And when we was with them, we sang their song. But what we're doing now is our own interpretation of reality. And we must be pretty close to right because we wouldn't be getting this attention. We wouldn't be cut off from everybody. There wouldn't be no groups of Negroes waiting here to follow whoever just stumbles into the Masjid and pray follow them, we wouldn't be getting the attention or isolation that we're getting unless we were real. Thank God. So this is the last taping we're going to have before we go to California. But to us, it don't sound like it, but it's a great period. We're really charged up about this. And we're thankful to be here. There's nothing that's out of place. Or if we would have did that, that would have been bigger. Or if we would have did that, we don't have none of those ideas. We're thankful for just the way it is. And we're asking Allah to help us take this to where He wanted to go. Because in the last go-round, we just found out for sure. Not, because at first that sounded real funny. Don't count on your own plans and scenarios. Tafweed, just turn it over to Allah. That's a little, because some people, that's what they do. They plan, they always got a scheme. They're just planning. Wait a minute. So, you're saying, not saying don't plan. These are plans. We go from everywhere. But the stuff that come out. Hey man. There's somebody somewhere observing all of this. And they have the ability to observe it and to pay wages for anything that anybody do. And it seems like they're in control of the whole show. That's what it looks like to me. So, I'll close with this. Thanks to Allah, I do have one wish. If I had one wish, in case you can't go around wishing, that everybody felt the same way. That everybody could lock into something. Don't have to be this. And they feel and they have the same type of characteristics. Because remember, nobody can make nobody do nothing. At first, this stuff is scary. What? It's been like that all the time. And I'll close with this. People don't do what you want them to do all the time. When I went over to Algeria, I gave the brothers plenty of money. Then I went down to South America and started a kind of a business like. And after I got right, I said, now we're going to roll. And I took a big package back over there, and I couldn't even find the brothers to give the package. So I stumbled around. I had a hunch I'd go over here, and that was one or two. Everybody's in retirement. But all I know is I did what I could for that time and gained all the experience of the thing that would be controlling the world for the next 30, 40 years. Drugs, the roots, all of that. That's all everybody did. That's all everybody is still doing it, right? Everything that's going bad in South America right now is because of drugs. The United States made drugs illegal. So, now that means that they're going to make all the money. They are the main drug suppliers. So they have to mess up everybody's country to keep the facade going. Central America, I'll tell you what it's like. It's like, you know, in America, before Prohibition, vice was considered gambling and prostitution. There was no big super organized crime. But when they prohibited alcohol, Al Capone in Chicago, they said, was making $720,000 a week. That's like $720 million right now. That's what it's the same thing. A week. It's just mind-boggling.
So what you're saying, when one of those countries, or let's say when one of those countries wants independence, and the U.S. doesn't want them to have independence, so they overthrow their government, and then they flood it with drugs, or the drugs are already there?
No. They already got the drugs. Their policy in the U.S. has been the old term gunboat diplomacy. You know where that comes from? Panama. They wanted to build a canal. So they just run up to Colombia and said, hey, we're going to cut this piece off of your country. We're going to call it Panama. And that's what they did. Why? Because all they wanted was a little strip of land to build a canal. So every country that they have, and let me put it this way, all U.S. allies are drug dealers.
Okay, right.
You go back to Madame Nou, the Ziem regime, and,
right,
and the Golden Triangle over in Vietnam and all that. The French Connection, they got their Turkey, Marseille, and then of course Turkey, Iran too, you know, and then the drugs here from New York. Afghanistan, the mean old Taliban had cut drugs to little or nothing, and heroin increased 500% right now today in Afghanistan. 500%. That's under U.S. rule. So what I'm saying is, I know how that goes because I lived through it. I can forecast what's going to happen in it because I have a feeling about it now. Just like the movement, I don't be wrong too much on that, and I don't be too wrong on drugs. That was all part of my training. That I would go through all of that. So I know that Colombia, the FARC was making too much money. Revolutionary. They was making too much money. They could buy new weapons. They could do everything. They was able to challenge the Colombian government. So they sent they got, at that time they had 7 U.S. bases in Colombia. All this peace talk the last few years is because the Americans said, you're cutting in on our, they didn't say it, but that's what they meant, you're cutting in on our drug money. Therefore, we're going to do such and such, which they did. And so they suppressed the movement so much so that 2-3 years ago, the FARC made peace. They've been doing that for 64 years. And they made the peace treaties with them. Because they saw that the U.S., as long as the U.S. is here, we can't do nothing anyway. So we might as well work within the system that they control. So the point is this. If any country wants to be free, 3-4 years ago, they had a book out, how Latin America left the United States and became prosperous, something like that. In other words, Hugo Chavez, he was really doing a Bolivarian thing. And see, people don't know who Simon Bolivar was. They don't know none of the history. They have no idea. They saw him in one picture riding on a horse. He liberated South America, right? That's all they do. That's all they know. They don't know that 80% of the people fighting with him was blacks. He had blacks or Creoles. Bolivar, they was the Creoles. They was real Creoles. They looked like Spanish. Blacks, they were slaves. Where has a slave owner in world history ever fought for the freedom of slaves? Can you imagine? Simon Bolivar was a slave owner. His second and third commands was all ex-slave. When he was a kid, he used to play with them and all of that. And he used to go in where they were dancing, or whether it was voodoo or whatever, he'd be dancing with them. You know, he kind of was, you know, a white boy that wanted to be black almost. But he looked. They don't have, I ain't read no book where slave owners fought for the freedom of slaves. Everybody knew them was on. They're mestizos, mixture of Indian and Spanish. They're Creoles, higher bred. They're pure Indians. They're pure blacks. And they all fighting for freedom. What I'm saying is, when the U.S. don't want you to have freedom, or if you have the arrogance to want to be independent, that's independent. You don't want to do no, what, was that the Arbenz government in 54 in Guatemala? CIA.
Right.
The first thing, 54 and then 53 with Iran. Why they want to do a little social experiment? Social? Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Helping your people.
What's wrong with, they don't, hey. And the first thing the feds will tell you is, they wouldn't do that for you. They say, I'm not doing that